The subject of Charlie Kirk wasn't something I was going to comment on this channel. I thought several times to do an angel speak session around the death of Charlie Kirk, just to see what would come through, but in the long run, I decided against it. However, several nights ago, while I was watching TV, I felt the incredible urge to just write. And that's usually what happens when the angels are trying to get my attention. I then started to get this download, if you want to call it that. And when I get these downloads about what I'm supposed to write, sometimes I see in my mind like a computer screen with words being typed across. Although it looks more like the screen of an old word processor rather than a computer. So I went into my room, closed the door, and started to write. The following narrative is what came through.
First and foremost, we would like to say that it is never an opportunity to celebrate when someone's life is violently taken away. From our heavenly perspective, to see so many people celebrating and even thanking the Creator for the death of Charlie Kirk was both heartbreaking and tragic. How can someone say they love God and rejoice when there is bloodshed? Whether you agree with another person's politics, religion, or ideology or not, you should never wish them harm or celebrate when tragedy befalls them. Perhaps it would be beneficial to remember the words in Proverbs which state, "Do not rejoice when your enemy falls and do not be happy when he stumbles." There are many in your world today who blatantly rejoice when those they disagree with are harmed or lose their lives. This is not the way of heaven. As far as Charlie Kirk himself is concerned, his soul was gathered by the angels after he took his last breath. We know there are many religious people in your world who think they know where each and every soul goes once it leaves this material world. But we tell you as a certainty, they do not. For those who must know, Charlie Kirk was a thing you call indoctrinated by religions shaped by mortal men. Naturally, there were many things he believed that were incorrect and yes, even toxic for many of his adherents to hear. To say that many of his statements were concerning would be an understatement. Much of his philosophy was the cause of many being led astray by false narratives about both his fellow humans and God. But we ask you, how many of you believe things that are incorrect about God? How many of you relegate to God the poisoned disposition of a mere, broken mortal? And how many of you who profess the Christ, look down upon your fellow man because of religion, color, or creed? How many of you have been indoctrinated with incorrect information that is harmful rather than healing? All of you, including Charlie Kirk, will unlearn much that you have been taught in the next life. Do not think that there won't be a great time of unlearning once your soul crosses over into the realms of heaven. All of you will see where you have fallen short. And all of you will undergo this relearning process where you will give up your error for truth. It may be hard for some of you to understand, but there are many people, in your world, who hold harmful beliefs but still love God. They believe they are doing the right thing according to the polluted faith they have been taught. You must understand that these things are what they have been indoctrinated with all their lives. Some of these harmful ideas have been passed down to them by family, others from a person's chosen religion. Therefore, religion needs to be more responsible with the messages it is preaching. It must reform and come out of the political and militant mindset it has held for far too long now. It must teach people love and peace, so that families will not teach their children division and hate. This is why the scriptures say that those in positions of authority and teaching will be judged more harshly than those they have indoctrinated. Because those who are supposed to be helping and healing the world are bringing it to the brink with their doctrines of intolerance and violence. Shame on those who inject such spiritual and mental venom into the minds of their adherents. And now concerning what many are calling the new spiritual awakening and a new revival spreading across the land. What is happening is not revival. To call for civil war, violence, and even a political and cultural genocide, of sorts, against those who do not agree with their particular ideology, has more in common with the dark than with the light. Did not Jesus say that in the last days many false prophets, teachers, and Christs would appear? And that many would abandon the true faith to follow them and their doctrines of devils? Those who wave their Bibles and flags while spewing hatred and calling for violence and death have nothing to do with the Spirit of Christ. Take heed of the early believers in Jesus. They did not start a revolution to kill those who did not believe as they did. They did not label the Romans as terrorists and start a campaign to eliminate them from the face of the earth. But rather, they went willingly into the Roman arenas to be torn apart by lions. They even knelt peacefully and prayed while the beasts came upon them. They knew their home was not of this world and their religion was not one steeped in materiality and violent national pride. Those who did uphold such things in the days of Jesus were the very religious leaders whom he rebuked and called a brood of vipers. And Jesus made it abundantly clear that their religion was born from the hearts of twisted men, and not of God. That we realize there are many who will be angry when they hear these words, but still, we implore them to hear the truth. This tyrannical, racist, violent and hateful form of Christianity that is spreading across the United States and the world is more of a forerunner of Antichrist than it is of Christ. It is a lie and a deception wearing a Christian mask that deceives many. We ask the people of true faith to come out of this modern-day Babylon and take not the mark of the beast on their forehead, which stands for corrupted thoughts, or the mark on the back of the hand, which represents evil actions that come from those corrupted thoughts. The scriptures, nor the teachings of Christ promote what is happening in this movement. It is tarnishing many souls with its darkness. We would even add to that this movement does not honor Charlie Kirk, but rather dishonors him with its beast system philosophy and antichrist rhetoric. Believe us when we tell you that Mr. Kirk now sees the error that was in many of his beliefs. And his heart is heavy to see the legacy of enmity that his words have left behind. He is pleading with tears from the heavens for all of you to stop, for he was wrong. He is begging for all of you to follow the true way of peace and love. His sorrow is heavy and will take much time to heal. Thus, again, we call all of you to come out of this modern Babylon in mass exodus, before the pillars of its movement crumble and the whole thing comes crashing down around those who cling to its gospel of hate. He who lives by the sword will die by the sword. And whatever one sows, he shall reap. It would do many of you well to remember these words. It would also do many of you well to remember the words in the Bible which state that whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. For truly, at this point, it is as Jesus said, that the love of many in your world has grown cold. Return to love. This narrative has been presented by the angels.